What exactly is a unicameral? Why does Nebraska have one? Here's the story behind the Cornhusker State's unique governing body. For starters, a unicameral is a single legislative chamber, unlike the U.S. Congress, which has a House and a Senate, as well as the legislature of every other state in the Union. Small city governments and school districts often operate in this manner. All the Canadian provinces also use this model to carry out legislation. Originally, however, most of the American colonies were governed by one-house legislatures, until a gradual shift towards bicameralism took hold. After the colonies became independent, all but 3 states, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Vermont, had switched to a bicameral system. And by 1836, the last remaining unicameral state voted to switch over to a bicameral, meaning even Nebraska's initial state government, as well, was a 2-house system. Fast forward now to 1923, when Senator George Norris writes an op-ed in the New York Times titled, "A Model State Legislature," proposing a small lawmaking body elected on a nonpartisan basis, in place of the large, unwieldy, often violently partisan conventional arrangement. By 1933, George Norris was well known throughout Nebraska, notably for his work writing the 20th Amendment as well as the Farm Block Bill. The Depression looms over the United States, and unrest with governments and institutions leaves the people wanting to implement new ideas. Norris and his team eye 1933 as the year to push for the unicameral, so George fired up his car and forked out $10,000 to campaign throughout Nebraska, critiquing the bicameral system as outdated, inefficient, and a system modeled after the British Parliament. Norris vouched for the unicameral model, saying it would be free of the evils of the 2-house system. By the time he was done campaigning, the tires on Norris's car were literally worn out. The sacrifice was worth it for Norris, though, who garnered statewide support for his idea. In 1934, his unicameral amendment was adopted with a wide margin of support. With nearly 480,000 votes cast, the amendment passed with 60% of the vote. Amendments to repeal prohibition and authorize betting on horse races easily passed too. Fast forwarding to present day, Nebraska remains the only state in the Union that uses the unicameral system. However, other states have teased the idea of switching to a one-house legislature, and Brenda Erickson, a senior research analyst for the National Conference of State Legislatures, says the introduction of bills calling for a unicameral is actually fairly common. And after winning an election in 1998, Minnesota Governor and former WWE star Jesse Ventura made the unicameral a marquee focus of his administration. This sparked a debate within the state, leaving 2 factions: the Minnesotans for single-house legislature, and ouch, opponents of a unicameral house. Since 2007, Minnesota, Virginia, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Hawaii, and Oregon all had one-house bills that never gained enough traction, leaving Nebraska's unicameral as one of a kind.